My name is Casey, and this is my first, probably only ever YouTube video I will ever post. Didn't totally want to do this, but alas, here I am doing it. So the song that I'm gonna be singing is Anyway, which is a Kerrigan and Lowdermilk song. It really resonated with me, and I guess you'll see why when you watch the video. But I'm gonna be singing that. But the reason that I'm making this video is not just to show people of the internet and my pals and whatnot this video of me singing. Like, that's cool, but it's really not the point of this video. The point of this video is to talk a little bit more about A, cycle for survival, B, my relationship with cancer. So, when I was 8, my parents told me that my dad had cancer. And, you know, I was 8. I didn't really know what that meant. I didn't really know what cancer was. I just knew that my grandmother had had cancer and then she had died. And that was like a year or two beforehand. So obviously I just knew that cancer was a bad thing that killed my grandma. So I don't really know how to take it. Obviously, none of my peers really got it. And at that point, my dad had already been living with cancer for 10 years. He had a very rare form of cancer that I'll put in the description, but like it's too complicated for me to pronounce it. I'm gonna mess it up and it's not gonna be right. Dad went to doctor's appointments all the time. He was always on new treatment. He was always getting procedures, having surgery. I didn't really understand the gravity of it because of the fact that it was my normal. My dad was in the hospital all the time, but that was my life. He always came back, you know? So that's it. I grow up. I keep growing up. I keep dealing with this. It's just a part of my life. I tell people, sometimes I don't. Most people know, most of my friends know, you know, general. So flash forward to my sophomore year of high school, which was 2 years ago. And I start getting involved with this movement called Cycle for Survival. And being a child of someone with cancer sucks, you know, for a lot of reasons, but above all else, it sucks because you never want to see your parent in pain and know that there's nothing you can do. And that's how I felt. So I spent a really long time, ever since my parents told me, feeling like there was absolutely nothing that I could do, and I was just watching my dad die and I couldn't stop it. And then I found Cycle for Survival. So I got involved with Cycle for Survival, which is a national movement that raises money and awareness for rare cancer research. All of the money that they raise goes directly to Memorial Sloan Kettering, which is the wonderful hospital where my dad was treated for 20 years. So Cycle for Survival holds these cycling rides. It's like a soul cycle class at Equinox where you get on a bike and you jam out and it's like a dance party and everyone's cheering and singing and it's the most fun ever, but you have a fundraising page. So I find Cycle for Survival. I'm, you know, the 16, whatever. And I'm like, all right, I'll try to raise $200. Like, maybe I can do that. Put the link on Facebook. My dad sends it out to his friends. My mom sends it out to hers. And within like 2 hours, I raised like $1,000. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna set my goal a little bit higher. So I just kept setting it higher and higher and higher. And by the end of my first year, I raised over $11,000. And I could have never even imagined raising that much money. I did not expect that to happen whatsoever. But it was great. I went to the ride. I did a battle cry, which is basically where I get to talk about cancer and my involvement with it, how it affects my life, and I got to talk to everyone else participating in the ride, and it was incredible. It was an amazing experience. I laughed, I cried, I sang, I rode. It was incredible. I'll never forget it. I was super happy to have finally found something that made me feel like I was helping, that I wasn't just watching my dad die, that I was doing something about it. And Cycle for Survival really does do something about it. I mean, the countless times that I went to Memorial Sloan Kettering where my dad was treated and I would talk to his doctors and they would be like, oh my gosh, you do Cycle for Survival, that's insane. They raise so much money for us. Some of the drugs and the trials that my dad went on were funded by Cycle for Survival. Flash forward a year and my dad is sick in the hospital. It's not like the times before because he's going to die there. And my mom tells me this, and I stopped living my life the way that I would. So I stopped going to school, and I was spending all my time with him at the hospital, and it looked like he was getting better. And they moved him out to like an outpatient type of area, and I went to California for this thing for my school, and I didn't want to go, and my dad was like, no, go, don't let me stop you. I go to California, and not even 24 hours of me being in California, not even 12 hours of me being in California, he dies, and I have to go home. And in his obituary, we put the link to my donation page for Cycle for Survival. And this is in November, and my ride is in February. And by February, I raise over $44,000. And it's incredible. It's what he wanted, it's what I wanted, and it made me feel like even though we couldn't save my dad, doesn't mean that there's not some other girl out there whose dad we can't save. We can save him. I'm making this video because my ride is next week, and I raised a lot of money my first year. I raised a lot of money last year, and I'm not raising enough this year. And I get it. It's not as prevalent in the lives of the people that I know as it is in mine. You know, last year he died and people felt bad and they gave me donations, and that's okay. And this year it's not. Everybody else moves on, and they're expected to. But I don't. It's still a major part of my life, and it would mean nothing more to me than if you, any of you, were to click the link that is in the description box and go to my page and donate anything, small or as big as you want, because I am on a mission to make sure that no other 16-year-old girl ever has to lose her dad to cancer again.
I didn't expect to see you here. I mean, outside smoking. I'm more of a Nicorette girl these days. I'm joking. I mean, I did quit, but who feels like joking now? I'll see you, your scowl, and raise you a furrowed brow. Do you remember how we used to read Mocha, Joyce, and we barely understood it, but it gave us a voice or language. I don't read poetry anymore, but if I did, I'd be reading it tonight for sure. My fucking pulse and others go so slow, like this morning feels like a month ago. Oh, 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 I feel like Anyway, there's this building you pass. It's on the subway to Queens. It's on the L or the R or the one that's green. It's covered in tags, bright hieroglyphics. These 15-year-olds, they're so fucking prolific. I'm commuting, I'm eating my goddamn apple while they're secretly painting their Sistine Chapel, but whatever. It's like they know their odds. If they're gonna die young, they better live like not helping or cleaning, I'm not even crying. I'm not doing anything. He'd be so goddamn helpful, well fuck him for dying, cause I'm not writing his elegy, not me. I'm not writing that down. They would scrawl his name on a city wall, but I'm a fucking clown. I'm making jokes so I don't drown. I feel like I'm underwater. 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 Like the whole world is underwater. I'm drowning out underwater. I feel like I'm underwater. I didn't expect to see you here. I mean, thanks for coming. I thought you'd oppose the use of religious rites as, well, numbing. I mean, it is dumb, but what if he can hear us pray? I mean, what the fuck do we know?